Hold on. And that is why I think that Trump needs to make it a declaration, like an executive order, that sprinkles should not be allowed. David, you're going to get yourself kicked out of my panel so fast, son. So help me get. Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing? Welcome to Caliber Corner. We are on episode number 71. We're just heated debate on the sprinkles over there. Let me just explain what's going on in case anybody's jumping in. I posted a picture on Instagram with a local gas station chain called Casey's that's out here, and they now feature sprinkles on their glazed donuts. You just lost a customer. They just make things chunky and chewy. They get stuck in your teeth and they ruin the experience of a good glazed donut. So on that note,
sprinkles matter.
And I know it's me versus the world. Everybody here is pro sprinkles, but it really is pro choice when it comes to sprinkles. I mean, if you want to go ruin a good thing, you go right ahead. So
yeah, but what a way to screw up a perfectly good donut.
Sketchy roll, get a cup of coffee. You keep showing this sleeping emoji. Go get some, Sketchy. Get some. All right. So real quick, let's go and take attendance and see who's here. We've got a very active chat going on the YouTube side, but we're going to start over on the gun channel side where we've got Paper Plane Crash. Patrick is over there. Jim is over there. Rich White is over there. Rich, we need to get you on Caliber Corner. Calaveras is also over there too. Dano said good morning, and Dano is with us also. Over on the YouTube side, we got a lot of people joining in. We've got Vanessa Kitty, Tacos and French Fries, Mad Sexy showing up, Gizzard Gary, David Bowling, Jim Burgess, Travis T, the Travi is strong with that one. Boob Sweat's with us also, and I kind of say that quick, by the way. Ed, Rich White, Blue Steel 44 in the house. What else we got going on? Sketchy Roll still sleeping. Cadillac Jack is with us. Midnight Range TM in the house. Calaveras, Lockjaw, Squibload, and Sandhills was the first one to check in, so welcome. Whew. All right, let's let the panel introduce themselves. Tony, what is going on with you, brother?
Nothing. I'm just sitting here freezing.
You're freezing. You too, huh? Yeah, it's foggy and 14 degrees outside, and I'm going to the range after I get done with this show. So I'm bundling up, man. I'm going to bundle up like an Arctic storm, dude. I'm ready for it. I'm going to be sitting around in freezing weather. I'm going to go out like a Christmas story. I can't move my arms now. So, Tony, give us an update, man. Are we going to see some early watch in January? Is it going to happen?
As far as I know, it is, yes.
Good.
I'm probably going to start fiddling around with it here in a couple weeks.
So, Gun Channels family, you guys are on gunchannels.com. Everybody should be on gunchannels.com anyway. You guys need to get over there. You need to talk to Tony, see if you can get on the panel, join in his morning discussions. Tony, if you get it fired up during winter vacation Christmas vacation for me with my job, I'd be happy to join in some mornings and just chill with you, man. Have a good time. You guys and Daily Gun Show brought me into this whole world of gun media and the gun community. So that's why I love to give back to you guys.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that because I'm not sure the status of Jimmy.
Okay.
For those that don't know, he's the guy who actually started the thing.
Yeah.
And we were, from day one, co-hosts on it. And life has thrown him some curves, so he ain't been able to do it.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Oh, ammo cat. You're getting in all the cables. All right. So hopefully we'll get her fired up, Tony, get it going. And again, you guys join in. I know for a while Nice Strike was running it, I think, over the summertime, and you guys did what you could, and it's a great show. It's an awesome show, so make sure you do check it out. Old episodes are still up, aren't they, Tony?
As far as I know.
Yeah, they're good to listen to, man. They're great if you got something to work on. You got a couple hours to burn. You're just sitting around. They're nice to have on, and you learn something, and they're a lot of fun. So
you guys talk safe about for work.
What's that?
They ain't safe for work.
No. That's just if you're at home, sitting around chilling, whatever, working on a project or something, they're good to listen to.
All my work listening has headphones, so yeah. Unless you're doing stuff on the screen you shouldn't be doing.
Yep, exactly, man.
I don't even have a camera, so that's not an issue.
Yep. All right, man. So, Tony, thanks for joining in. So, Squib, what is new in your world, man? How's it going? You enjoy some of that venison yet? Did you fire any of that up yet? Do you cook any of that?
So, we busted out Kill It and Grill It, which I got my wife a few years ago for Christmas. That's the Ted Nugent cookbook.
Yeah.
But ended up not needing it. She made some chili, and she just asked some advice. One of the guys she works with is a hunter, and he cooks what he kills, and he said, yeah, just make it like you'd make regular chili. The deer wasn't too gamey, and we had some really good venison chili. So it's a start.
Good deal, man. Yeah, you know, it's such a versatile meat. You know, you can blend it, make your own kind of burger with it, sausage. You can jerky it out. You know, there's a lot of options for it. So it's definitely a great. And I'm hoping I can score some in January. That'd be really cool. Squib, anything new on the channel? I know you talk about. Are you going to get a gun video up here pretty soon? We want to see what you can do, man. You working on some stuff right now?
I finally drug stuff out of the folder that's I've stacked up with a bunch of projects I started in September and just didn't complete. So last week I released 2 videos, and I'll eventually start rolling out some more. I'll probably be able to do more come January. This time of year is busy for everybody, but it was kind of fun pulling one out of the trash can and turn it into something else. I mean, I even put you in it, Tony. So
you pulled Tony out of the trash can?
Yeah, I did. I pulled Tony out of the trash can. He was in there with a sprinkled donut and an empty box of ammo, and yeah. So
you got me away from that ruined donut. Thank you.
So I made I recycled an old project and added something to it to turn it into something entirely different. And then I made a short video before, and I filmed like 5 endings for it and couldn't decide which one I wanted. And
just release all 5. Choose your own adventure.
No, because they were all none of them were really that good. I mean, it was a little bit funny, but not. So I released a short video there, and I've got some other stuff. And
yeah.
Eventually, I get to the editing's what gets me, and I use Windows Movie Maker. So when you guys are looking at the videos, going, "These videos suck," well, it's because I don't spend money on decent software. But eventually, I will. But for right now, I'm just having fun with it and learning. And I just it was kind of nice just releasing 2 on the same day, and it's like, okay, I'm making myself get back into this because it's fun. You know, the reason I do this.
I was going to say, there's nothing wrong with Movie Maker if you like jump cuts.
Yeah, no
I got
kidding.
a program I use. I don't want to make it a tech talk, but it's $50 for an unlimited license to it. I'll tell you what I use. It runs well on anything. It's a very intuitive program. I could take you step by step on how to make a video with it.
The unlimited license is the thing that appeals to me.
Yeah. You buy it once and you own it for life. So with all the updates.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's just it. I've talked to a few people about 2 different programs I wanted to get, and they both said, yeah, every year you've got to update it, otherwise it starts glitching out. And I'm like, ooh, okay.
The one I'm on, I've been using for 2 years, and it's solid. I'll tell you about it afterwards. It's good. It's good. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
So thanks for the invite, and hopefully we have another good Caliber Corner. We always do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being here. I think you've been here since episode 1. I don't remember when the first episode was, but it was you and Night Strike, and you guys got me through it. So I thank you, sir.
Well, hey, I'll try to be here every Saturday when I can.
Cool. All right, moving on. Sandhill Shooter, what's new in your world, bro?
Good morning. Thanks for the invite. Just getting ready to talk a little deer hunting before I have to go to work this morning.
There we go. Yeah, we're going to move the order around a little bit. We're going to do a little deer hunting 101 chat. And I know you're going to say, well, I thought season's over. No, we're going into late season. We've got January coming up here.
If you live in a free
around the
state,
corner, somebody might be looking into getting a rifle for the first time. So what's that?
If you live in a free state, then there are more than one rifle season.
Mm-hmm. Feel free to come on down.
You just have to be willing to.
You
have to be willing to harvest something that doesn't have antlers on its head if you don't do it in November. That's all.
Yeah.
So for anybody who claims that they always eat whatever they shoot, then it's not a problem.
There you go. Right on. Cool, man. Cool. All right, and joining us for the first time, Dano, have you ever been on Caliber Corner? Oh, wait, no, hold on a second. Sandhills, you want to let us know about your shows that you got going on? Sorry about that. What a little plug for your channel.
Yeah, no worries.
I forgot about 2-8 Tuesday.
That's okay. 2-8 Tuesdays, every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Central Time, or immediately following Hit or Miss, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern. But I know it gets confusing. It's hard to say Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock when then I say 9 o'clock Central Time. But that's the only time zone that really matters.
This is so true. This is so true.
This
we're arrogant about that. No sprinkles in Central Time Zone only. We're just brutal dictators on this chat.
No kidding. This next week should be a really good one. It's ladies' night. We're going to discuss and have a few ladies join us on the panel that have never been part of 2-8 Tuesday before. One of them you and I know from Omaha, and then somebody I think from Tampa hopefully is going to join, who's an instructor down there. and a few other people. So,
Cool.
but it's going to be a discussion on ladies or people with physical impairments who just typically aren't as big and or as strong as the average attacker, and how, you know, arming yourself, having a firearm, having the right to own and carry said firearm can keep someone alive and keep them safer.
It's an equalizer. I mean, it's really hard to argue that it cannot stop the threat. You know,
That's right. That's right.
exactly, and that's what's important: keeping families safe and friends safe. So
I hope everybody joins us, and I want to throw a special shout out there to Moob Jiggles in the chat, because I've never seen that name before, and I really hope you join us Tuesday night, so when I take roll call, I can say Moob Jiggles one more time.
You'll probably get smacked if you say that with your wife sitting next to you. So
she won't smack me if it's already somebody's name. I never get hit when I say boob sweat. So
geez. By the way, real quick, good morning to Ozzy Orsborn. You're joining us here with the Hall Pass, and Stephen Dawkins. You guys are late. No, I'm just kidding. We're glad you're with us. Good to have you here. Vanessa Kitty, good morning too. All right, so moving on. Dano, is this the first time you've been on Caliber Corner before?
I think I was on here 6 months to a year ago. How long have you been doing this show exactly? It's been a while.
What's that?
Seems like.
Oh, it's been a while since you've done a show. Yeah, no, I mean, you guys, anybody's welcome to come on here. I don't care. It's all good. You know, it's good to have you here. So what's new in your world, man? What you got going on?
Just a little over a month ago, I took a carbine class with Kevin Dixie out of St. Louis, and it's been a long time since I ever had any training on a rifle. Actually, it was the Army, and it was the 1980s back in the day. Yeah. But more importantly than that is, you know, I'm very excited. I very recently, as in yesterday, got the legal permissions to use copyrighted material from a professional trainer that if I said his name, everybody would know his name. But to break it down in bits and pieces.
Nothing fancy?
No.
I'm just messing with you.
But what I plan on doing is breaking it down into smaller, more digestive parts, you know, that people can use, because not everybody has an hour and a half to sit down and watch something. But, you know, most people, if they want to, you know, check something out, might have, you know, 5 or 10 minutes for this, that, or the other, kind of create a playlist so people can kind of pick what they choose. But it won't be me saying, oh, this is just Dano and my way of doing it. That's not it. I'm simply got permission to present the information in a broken up way, you know, from the originator. I also have to figure out what I need to do so that YouTube doesn't immediately strike my account down for copyrighted material. And even though I have an email with permission.
If you're not running music, I think you're going to be okay, because I have taken my videos and run them on, well, I guess it doesn't matter, because I've taken the same video and run them on both of my channels and never had anything happen. I don't know if that doesn't matter because I'm the originator of them, but I would think if you don't have music, it shouldn't be a problem. If it's not a movie, it shouldn't be a problem. So, because I mean, people repost stuff all the time on YouTube. There's people that play news broadcasts. That's all they do, and their channels are still up. People play movie clips, and that's, you know, that's one thing. But I would think you'd be okay. I don't know. You might want to email them and see if they can give you, or just do some research on how to show other people's content when you have permission. Maybe you need to put something in the description box that says used with permission and the person's email. Because I mean, I'm able to use there's royalty-free music you can use on YouTube, and all I have to do is give the person credit in the box, put the name of the song and the website it came from, and I've never gotten hit for it before. And that's using published music that's online from a particular website. Right. So maybe their algorithm has a permission clause on it somewhere. So yeah, because I mean, last thing you want to do is get permission to do it, and then boom, you know. But I mean, people have shown clips of other people speaking, and it's appeared on other channels, and it's never caused an issue. So yeah.
So that's what I got coming up. I don't want to necessarily go into the details real hard, because I still have to feather out some of the details of the presentation and how I want to do some of that stuff. So, but that's what I'm up to.
Very cool, man. Well, it's good to have you here. It's good to have you joining on with us this morning, and there you go. All right, so Jim, moving on to you, man. What you been busy doing lately, bud?
I actually took a carbine class myself.
Yeah. Now, did you run it with the AK or not?
Yep.
You did the whole time?
Yeah. It was actually an AK centric class. So you could have brought whatever you wanted, but everybody there was running AKs. So
what did you run? What was your
the
AK?
Wasser 10.
Okay, solid whole time, no issues.
Oh yeah, no issues whatsoever.
That's awesome, dude. Now, was it a newer one? Was it I mean, it doesn't matter that they're century imported. Was it something you bought recently, like in the last couple of years? Or
it was a 2015 2015. Yeah, that was my. Oh my goodness, Hillary's going to win.
That's a good vintage right there that you picked up.
You too, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. How did I end up with my Wasser? Thank you, Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of us spent a little bit of money right before the elections, and yep.
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
So Travis, I gotta tell you, I take a couple of weeks of hiatus, man, and your beard is getting legit, man.
Isn't that? I look like an unkempt Chris Costa is what I'm shooting for right now. So.
Doubled in size, man.
It's got a little girthiness to it. I like that. It's kind of a little air cushion going on there. I'll tell you, when you're walking the dog and it's 5 degrees outside in the mornings, it is wonderful. I mean, I don't need a scarf anymore. I don't have to cover the face up. I just go right out. I see why people do it. I mean, it's amazing how much warmer I stay too. So, I'll keep it on it. I got to be honest. It sucks for in the summertime because you're just constantly just like tripping. You're just, if you're outside working and stuff, it's just gross. But I was the first year I've gotten used to having a beard in the summertime. So, but thank you. All I do is just kind of trim off the scraggles and I'm just letting it go. So, people are much nicer to me now. They call me sir. They open the door. They're more polite and patient with me, like I've got an AARP card or something. I really like it.
Get a little salt in there, so.
Yeah, there you go.
One other thing. Can we make fun of Tom Arnold for a second?
Sure, go right ahead. I mean,
because according to him, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 8 of us in this room. According to him, over 6 of us are going to shoot ourselves or our family.
Really?
Oh, Jesus Christ! What an idiot!
Where does that figure come from?
Out of his butt.
The total number of gun accidents that are accidental discharge are probably minimal, and
I don't
none
think
of us
he's
are
talking about accidents.
No, he might be lumping accidents and suicides in there, but.
Yeah. And after all the drugs that guy's done, I can't be surprised that he said something like that.
Now, Tom Arnold is just the epitome of sage, right? I mean, this guy, he's got the world figured out. Why would we ever question what that idiot would say?
So, Tom, he has this man. So you're telling me this man has 0 firearms at all in his life whatsoever. He has no armed security with him ever. He has no gated community that he lives in. He just lives freely, thinking the world is going to be fine and things ever going to happen to him.
Allow me to put this into perspective. He married Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, and then he got divorced and lost everything, so he probably doesn't live in a gated community anymore.
Well, he's made money from other movies that he's done. I listened to an interview with him recently. He's doing fine. He's done he's done stand-up stuff. And
he's worried. Maybe he's worried about those guns in Massachusetts that might just go off when they're double locked inside a safe in somebody's closet in their apartment.
Well,
you mean the ones that people find when they search through somebody's stuff?
Yeah, if you're willing to invade somebody's privacy, then those guns probably are going to go off in retaliation even when you're out.
Hey, those guns were right out in the open, stuffed in her lockbox underneath her table and a dresser in the back of a closet. So, I mean, they were right there in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the hypocrisy of it is just ridiculous. These people, you can't have guns. Okay, well, you're surrounded by armed security, and I'm sure they've got 4 out of 6 chance of shooting themselves too. So
I've heard that there's a lot of Hollywood types out there that are anti-gun and they're vocal about it, but yet they have a private collection of expensive guns, NFA items, and I don't know if this is true, but somebody was talking about it on a show once about how some of these people have their own, and some of it is just for kind of prestige. Look at this expensive stuff I got, and some of it is investments, for them it's not a big deal. For them to have a vault in their mansion, and for them to have to buy stuff that we could only dream of. But that's
how gun control has always been ever since after the Civil War. But even if you go back to the NFA, it wasn't, we're going to ban these things. It's just going to be, we're going to make it so only the rich people can have toys.
We tax them.
We just don't think that the little people should have them.
Right. Yeah. It's you that shouldn't have guns.
What do we say when you adjust for inflation? Those tax stamps, the $200 tax stamps would have been $3,500 back then, $4,000 back then, which would have been years and years of a person's salary back in the day, or would have been. So it wasn't exactly easy to acquire back then. So, it was crazy stuff. So I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and Jim. Anything else for everybody?
Nope.
Good to go?
Good to go.
Cool. It's been good to see you on some of Matt's chats too, man. You enjoying doing those?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little crazy, man. They're pretty fun, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, man. Wednesday night. That was a good one. All right.
That went off the rails.
Let's see here. So, David Bowling, what's new in your world, buddy?
Not too much. Thanks for having me, Travis. Always appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man. So, new to the channel, you got any videos coming up? Anything going on?
Yeah, I actually have a giveaway that I'm going to end today after the show. And I want to give a special thanks to Southpaw RX. You'll see him in this chat room from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
He won some stuff on my prior giveaway and said that he wanted to send me some stuff to do a giveaway. So out of the kindness of his heart, he reached in his pocket, bought some stuff from gear websites and from Amazon, sent it to me, and I'll be ending the contest and doing the winner today. And then hopefully one day this week, I'm going to give my shot at the Firearms Players, Firearm Inventors playing card deck. My first video is going to be John Derringer.
Cool.
Or Henry Derringer, I'm sorry.
You're talking about that project you're working on. It's going to be neat to see it, man. It's going to be awesome. Make sure you get those on a playlist too so we can go back and watch them.
Yeah, I plan on, I want to do the best that I can because obviously, you know, you could just relate back to gun channels or, you know, G-Webs. And, you know, obviously he knows way more than I do, but, you know, at the end of all his videos, he says maybe this will inspire somebody to go out and do their own video. So I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works out.
Cool. Good deal, man. Good deal. All right, and joining us for a second time now, we've got Calaveras 32 Special. Calaveras, what's new in your world, buddy? What do you know, man?
Not a whole lot new over here. Just and you guys are all talking about you know 15 degrees and foggy and whatnot. It's a nice balmy 37 degrees out here.
That might be your high today.
Yeah, that's for do this morning. I have some other stuff, and I got to put some Christmas decorations this weekend. And I don't know. As for channel, nothing really new over here. As you guys know, the quality over here is low at best. But
come on, you got some good reviews, man. You got some solid information out there for people. Oh, you still with us, bud?
Did he drop out or did he lock up?
No, I don't know.
You got a phone call.
Yeah.
He was having some connection issues.
Oh, he did. Okay, I was like, I didn't see that. All right. Okay. Well, hey, let's go ahead and
censoring him.
Yeah, exactly. NSA. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to shift things around a little bit. With the holiday season coming up and the fact that there are some states that do offer a January firearm season for deer, we're going to do just a little we're going to have a little deer 101 chat. And we've done deer chats before, and we did do one back in October. So the absolute basics of deer hunting. And so Sandhills, I'm going to turn this over to you. Where does a person begin if they want to go deer hunting? Where should a person start, Sandhills? Anybody else can chime in, guys. If you've never done deer hunting before, that's fine too. What do you need to know if you want to get started?
First step is find a place to go where you have permission.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the luxury of private land like I do. I do understand how fortunate I am. And I'm very grateful that we have lots of land in the family. But if you're going to hunt public land, I mean, gosh, safety first. If your state requires orange, there's a reason for that. Deer can't see it, so don't be afraid to wear your orange because it can keep you from getting shot. Once you have a permission, a place where you can legally hunt the deer, and you've got your permit secured, then then it goes to really the only other thing you need to have is your orange and a gun.
I'd like to back up for just a second here.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to start from nothing, you need to decide fairly well in advance because you're likely going to have to take a hunter safety course before you can get hunting license and your deer permit.
Yeah, I ended up having to do that, and I've only been hunting deer for 15 years, and I ended up having to take it because I was born after the cutoff date for not requiring hunter safety. So I ended up having to take it with a bunch of my students that I actually teach, little kids. It was kind of interesting.
Changed that in our state since then.
Well, it was if you're born after January of 77, you had to take it.
It used to be that. Now it's just a flat age cutoff. If you're under,
yeah.
I don't remember what the age is now because I was the same way. I had to take the hunter safety course in order to get a permit back then.
So in Illinois, it's if you've had a hunting license, you're grandfathered in, or 81. Anybody born after 81 has to do it, unless they had hunting license after that, which there was a few years that there was a group that got exempted because they had hunting license already.
Fine Ape has a good comment. It says, get your state's hunting regulation book first. Yeah, start off with that. They've got copies of them at Walmart. They have them sitting up on right by your local gun stores, have them by the cash register. You can download them online. Get the regulation book out so you know where you can hunt. Look at your public hunting areas. Look at the regulations about the firearms, obviously. If there's so many square inches of blaze orange you're supposed to be wearing, make sure you know about that too. You can get blaze orange camo. They do make such a thing with like the branches and stuff on it also.
Can't always use that. We can't use camo.
You can't use broken up? Okay.
Yeah. Always make sure you know your state laws.
Yeah, definitely. So get the book. Patrick G is saying, what is a hunter safety course? Well, I mean, that's probably sarcasm, but what it is for us, you had to have so many hours of instruction. And then when you're done, you get a little certificate, a little license that you keep with you that when you go to get your...
and I know Patrick isn't asking this honestly, but for anybody who really doesn't know, it would be like if your state required you to take driver's ed before you could get a driver's license.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
I got a quick question, and it might seem silly, and it also might be very easy or impossible to answer. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand the purpose behind the blaze orange or the bright yellow, the safety gear that you have to wear when you're out in the woods hunting, because you don't want somebody to shoot you. I mean, is it really that easy to confuse a human body walking through the woods with a deer?
Have you ever seen deer hunters?
I've never been hunting. I've never been hunting before, so I have zero idea.
Okay.
When they get what they call buck fever, people get extremely friggin' stupid.
They hear a twig snap, they immediately point in that direction, and they see some rustling. It's
really
high.
a legit
thing. It's not down below. It's got to be a deer.
It is, David, and the reason is, we're not talking about somebody who's going out in a red flannel coat like Elmer Fudd. Typically, what I wear, and not because I need it, but just because the hunting clothing that I have that's for extremely cold weather, it's Realtree. And if I don't put orange on over top of that, unless you're within 10, 20 yards of me, you're probably not going to notice me unless I move around. And where Travis and I are going to go, there's a lot of open country. But, where you live, I mean, I've seen pictures. It's trees, and they're thick trees. And sometimes you don't get to see the entire deer at any point. You have to make sure what you're shooting at is actually a deer before you shoot. And like Tony said, some people just start blasting and hope that whatever they hit was a deer. And it's sad, but we all know that not everybody who picks up a firearm is always the sharpest tool in the shed, unfortunately, and hunting is no different.
Let me tell you what happened on my first deer hunt. I went out with a buddy. We went out on public ground just south of where I live, right by the Platte River. It's a popular hunting area. And I got my doe, and we walked out to go get it. It was trying to get to the river. It collapsed before it made it to the river. It was trying to cross the river. And, we get down and we start to do the processing on it. We're going to gut it. And then like 5 or 6 other guys all come out of the woods and they want to come see. So we were all pointing in the same direction, maybe at one point when I dropped it. That scares me. Okay. And that orange is like, I see that deer in front of me. Oh, crap. There's an orange vest on the other side. You got to watch out when you get, especially where I'm at. That is the closest, most convenient public hunting ground to go to where I live. It's 5 minutes south of my house. It's also one of the most dense on open day. So those bullets are all flying in the same direction. They're all flying at the same target. Okay, you miss. All right. So that's the scary part about it. And that's why I immediately saw the guys start to come, that started coming out of the brush, and they all wanted to come over and see what I shot. And that's kind of scary. So after that, we started going on private land. That kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, I don't want to hunt on this land anymore. Maybe turkey archery, right? Or turkey shotgun or whatever, deer archery during archery season, because there's no long rifle going on. But you know, that right there just gives you good examples of why you got to be careful on public grounds.
And that's the entire reason why some states like Iowa, I believe Maryland is statewide shotgun only for deer. Some parts of Michigan, the way Squibb has explained it, are shotgun only. You know, a lot of states do that, and the reason is because the projectile, the slug, just isn't going to carry as far as the a 243 or a 30-06 or 300, whatever you have. You know, that bullet's gonna travel a lot farther with a miss than what a shotgun slug is. So, or muzzle loader too, typically are okay in a lot of those same areas.
Illinois is shotgun only until just a couple of years ago. They started allowing straight wall handgun, no long guns or no rifles.
And talking about the high vis, so I missed the beginning of it, but that's where an example of why you want people to know you're a hunter was my grandfather back in the day was wearing an old Korean War leftover winter jacket. Unfortunately, they were tan and they were fur lined. He had a bullet ripped through the hood of his jacket.
Oh.
Because somebody thought he was a deer because they could only see a little bit of him. And he looks up, there's this guy up on a cliff above and back, probably a couple hundred yards, jumping him down. I got it. Until they, my great-grandfather ricocheted a slug off of the rock about 5 feet from the guy, and the guy took off at a run.
I can remember being a kid back in grade school and reading a news story about somebody, I don't know where this happened. This has been probably 30 years ago, but a lady got shot when she was out for her morning walk, and she wasn't wearing orange. And if you live anywhere where there's a rifle deer season and you go out and walk during that week, you should always wear orange, whether you hunt or not. It's a good idea. But she had on a tan coat, something like that. She had white gloves on, white mittens, whatever it was, and this guy heard her on the other side of some trees, and he saw a glimpse of something brown, and then he saw her two white mittens. And when you hunt whitetails, when they get alarmed, their tail comes up, and it's white underneath, and so is a couple of the edge of their rump, and then when they run away, you see this white flag flying. He thought he saw two white flags. He thought he saw two deer running away. So he just pulled up and shot through the trees and killed this lady. So yeah, it's very important to take don't cut any corners on the safety.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer that's true. Like even when I've gone out for scouting for rifle season, it was deer and bow, and that's where I'll still wear, if it's hunting season of any kind, I'll wear the orange just for good measure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to pretend to be obnoxious one, I promise.
Dan Hills, do you happen to recall what the penalty that individual had to serve, if any?
No idea whatsoever. I don't even know if there had been a trial at that point when I read the article.
The times it's happened, typically it's just considered a hunting accident. There was no intention. I mean,
but that was 30 years ago. Today,
there
I
could be
have
some
no
civil
idea what
liability
kind of
now.
suit you'd be looking at.
It would be very circumstance dependent.
Yeah,
that definitely would. I mean, but there's no way around it. You potentially are looking at manslaughter charges and a very ugly civil suit on top of that.
That happened just a couple of years ago somewhere in upstate New York. That same kind of incident where a guy was deer hunting and a woman was walking her dog a couple hundred yards away, and he shot her. Now, I don't know if he killed her or not. I think so.
But Vanessa Kitty says the best. Look what you're shooting. Bring your dang binoculars and clearly identify along the path what you actually shoot at. So safety is absolutely paramount for this. I mean,
you're right, Vanessa. That's what everybody should do.
Yeah.
But those of us who've been around hunters and lots of them understand that, that's not always the case.
Yeah, especially if you're in the brush or in the woods. I mean, you need to know your target and know what's on the other side of it too.
There's something that There's
How many
something.
times, those of us been to public gun ranges or whatever, and you see the idiot down on the corner, or sometimes they'll be standing right in the middle. That's where they mag dump, and then they don't even bother to unshoulder their weapon. And they spin around to go back to the bench or whatever, and they're flagging the entire line. And that's where, unfortunately, there are way too many idiots in this world. And honestly, if we took warning labels off of everything and let evolution do its thing, I think that would help our society.
I've been saying that for years.
That's scary stuff. So when you go, again, know where to go. Obviously, safety, colors, clothing, know the regulations, go through the course if you're supposed to. Get the safety guidebook. What else?
There's something to be said about using a tree stand.
Mm-hmm.
Because it changes your angle of fire, and deer don't climb trees, so you're kind of safer up there.
Yeah.
If you do it, just practice from it, though, because it'll change your angle. Especially if you're a bow hunter. I mean, bow hunters understand how being 20 feet up in a tree can definitely change the trajectory of that arrow, as opposed to shooting the same distance on the ground.
Two things. Make sure you've got your harness on if you're going to be up in a tree stand in case you fall. And second, please make sure your guns, you don't have one in the chamber. Safety on or off as you go up and down the stand.
And don't ever climb the ladder with your gun.
Yeah.
Tie a rope to it and pull it up, or your bow, either one. It's just safer.
Sandals, you heard about that. We had a guy that was handing his rifle down to his son as he was coming out of the tree stand, and it went off and killed the guy up in the stand. That happened here in Nebraska a couple weeks ago.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he was passing the rifle down to his kid, and they had one in the chamber. Safety was off, and you can't say the safety was on and it went off, because really that should not happen. Not that a safety's a 100% guarantee. And we had an incident happen 2 years ago where a girl had a round in a chamber, and she had a rifle shoulder. That might have just been this fall. She hunched over to tie her shoelaces and came back up, and the gun went off, and she killed herself. So her trigger got caught on some part of her gear. And
was it a Remington? I know they were having issues with their safeties, the safety's failing on the 700s a while back.
Yeah. So, it's just, I know you don't want to alert the deer, but it's best to not have a round in the chamber unless you know where you're at, what you're doing, unless you're not going up into a stand, and if you're with another person, that multiplies the liability. So just be very careful of what's around you. You decide you're going to go flush something out, make sure you know your angle of fire. So
and
that's why you should carry a 6-gun. With
vehicles, with deer blinds, and it's compounded when there's more than one person around, but the 4 rules of gun safety apply no matter what situation you're in. Hunting's no different. Always treat the gun as if it's loaded. Never point it at anything you're not willing to shoot. Be sure of your target. Everything that we need to do on the range, we need to do in the field. We need to just make sure that we don't take stupid chances. You play stupid games, you'll win stupid prizes, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So safety first.
Yeah.
As for the empty chamber for the getting in and out of the stands, I agree. That's for talking about the tree stands. The issue comes into some areas out here where I'm at, as an example of the area being so open that a stand doesn't work. You have to do a spot and stock. So trying to do that with an empty chamber is a little more difficult. That's for safety on, most definitely.
Yeah.
Having being conscious of where your trigger's at is important. But that's for all in all making sure the muzzle's in a safe direction. Unless you're actually aiming at the animal. That's for, I think, most of your kind of generic rules of safety with firearm apply. And if you follow those while hunting, regardless of what kind of hunting you're doing, you should be pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
You don't have to get all fancy with scent lockers. It's good to know the direction of the wind. It's good to know what you're stalking. It's good to have good optics with you, at least a pair of binoculars. It's good to go with another person that knows how to do it if you've never done it before, especially when it comes time to actually processing the animal. Now let's move into the firearms aspect of it a little bit, and we'll do the slug talk, a little bit later on, the shotgun slug talk. But depending on the state that you're in, there's going to be regulations on what you can shoot with. There's going to be a minimum amount of energy the bullet needs at so many yards to hunt the deer. my recommendation, I mean, there's all these wildcat calibers you can get. I would say, if you can't hunt with long rifle, centerfire rifle, I would say 243 on up. Sandals, what do you think? If you can.
Yeah, I mean, as far as minimum calibers go, and that's what one of these is good for.
Yeah.
Always make sure you pick one of these up from your state or go to the website and get the most up-to-date info. But caliber, I mean, you've heard me say it before. I don't like anything 22 caliber for deer.
Yeah.
The only 22 caliber that I'm comfortable with is the 220 Swift, just because of the the velocity and the energy that it produces. But that's not to say that people who are competent, don't regularly take a deer with a with a 5.56 or with a 22 250 or something like that. It can be done as long as you know what you're doing, but practice makes perfect there.
That crap ain't fair to the animal, really. God, use a round that is going to put the thing down.
Well, I mean, I've seen 243 drop a deer at 200 yards. It's got the velocity and the energy behind it. But it's gonna drop off quick after 250 yards, 300 yards. But yeah, I mean, you can. I've seen photos on the Hornady website. You can drop deer with 5.56, but man, I'm just thinking you need the takedown power. You need the energy behind it.
My personal rule of thumb, anybody who asks me my advice, I will say anything between 243 and 30-06 is about perfect for all around deer cartridge, whether it's a 308, a 270, anything like that. It's going to be great. It's going to do the job. And it's, if you get into some extra long ranges, maybe you want to step up to a 300 or something like that. I've seen people take deer with a 338 Win Mag, and it's totally capable. 30-30s are great, but I prefer 24 caliber minimum. That's just my philosophy. The state of Nebraska says that 22 caliber is okay center fire if it's got minimum energy. There are minimum requirements for energy. There's no maximum, so I guess technically a 50 BMG is still legal for deer.
Yeah,
I think it's dumb, but it's legal.
Yeah, that's
also,
right.
Go ahead, guys.
Out here in California, it's they just say center fire. That's for myself personally. If not to say just in California, like if you're hunting like over a food plot from a stand, your range, a 223 Remington will work. That's where my stipulation is I want to see that person do a 5-shot group in the size of a quarter every time, regardless of weather and everything else. If they can do that, then okay, maybe I'd be okay with it. But as a general rule for most people's abilities, most situations, I prefer a 243 or larger. I actually use a 308.
Just want to show something off real quick. I did pick up a Mossberg Patriot in 6.5 Creedmoor. $349, free floated barrel, inexpensive, nice, powerful deer rifle that'll get the job done. I think it's 4+1. And I did take off the scope that came with it. It was a 3x9x40. Decided to put something a little bit bigger on there so it's easier on my eyes. This is a 4x16x56, but relatively inexpensive scope. So 6.5 Creedmoor, consider that. I've been doing some research on the rounds, and I didn't know if I wanted to go 6.5 Creedmoor or 308 or 270. The 6.5 Creedmoor, if you look at the ballistics of it, delivers about 30% more energy at the same range as 308. So it's going to give you 30% more pound-feet of energy at 300, 400, 500 yards. You take your shot at whatever you're comfortable at. You could drop a deer at 500 yards with 6.5 Creedmoor with the right ammunition. But 300 yards or less, this is more than adequate. Make sure you get yourself solid ammunition. And make sure you know the rules about ammunition, too. Most states are going to require soft point ammunition for hunting your deer. Obviously, you don't want to use full metal ball. Not that you couldn't hunt, but you want something that's going to cause some traumatic shock to the animal to drop it as quickly as possible. And I'm going to be hunting with what's that?
Sometimes, too, it depends on what part of the world you're in.
Yeah.
I've been told that, and I've never been to Texas and seen the whitetail deer in Texas, but I've been told that they're, the size of a large dog. A lot of people joke about, body-wise, the whitetail deer and mule deer both will vary from region to region. So, you know, a smaller caliber or lighter grain bullet might do well on a deer in one area and then be totally underpowered, you know, if you go somewhere else where the deer weigh another 100 pounds more too.
Yeah.
So
you know, that's where a point I was wanting to make on the caliber is if you're hunting locally, like say for, you know, Travis, you know, he hunts in an area, well, and Sandhills, not too far from where they live. You know what ammo you can get if for some reason, I mean, I've been guilty of doing it before. You're traveling, you thought you've packed all your stuff, you get out somewhere and, well, crap, my box of shells was in the other pack that, you know, or whatnot. I've done that before with duck hunting, and that you're going to have to pick up a box of shells on the way. If you're shooting a caliber that's kind of an oddball, you know, depending on where you're at, especially if you're hunting in a remote area, like when I hunted in south central Utah, there was only one store that had ammo, and they only had like 4 kinds. So having an ammo that's commonly available in your area can be good, because then if for some reason your ammo gets lost, gets damaged, you forget it, whatever, you can grab some more that may not be the exact load you want, but will function, versus if you have some of the boutique calibers, the Wildcats. Your hunt's done before it even starts.
That's a very good point. Travis, just a word of advice to you. Before you get in the vehicle and leave in January to come up, the last thing you should check, make sure that your rifle, of course, is in there. Make sure your ammo's packed, because I don't know if we can find any place within an hour's drive that would sell 6.5 Creedmoor.
Yeah,
and maybe they do. It's getting more and more popular.
Walmart has 4 different grades of it. I can get Remington core locked. In fact, that's what I've got a box just to bring this thing to 0. And then I bought some match grade and some super performance to get it dialed in and show what it can do.
Make sure you bring it, because the Walmart, the Walmart here is the closest one to where we're going to be hunting, and it's 2.5-hour drive one way.
No, yeah, I'll bring several, and that's a good point.
Because just don't forget it, though.
No, let me explain that to you. I went to Cabela's because I wanted to get Hornady Super Performance 6.5 Creedmoor ammo for the Ruger Precision rifle that I'm going to be testing. The scope that's on it, the Barris Eliminator 3, it has, you plug in the ballistic information for your round, and it gives you the holdover dot at whatever distance out to 1,200 yards. Well, do you think I could get Super Performance ammo anywhere here? No. Cabela's didn't have it. Walmart didn't have it. I couldn't buy it locally anywhere. I ended up having an order from PSA. I've got a box, and I paid a little bit of a premium for it to get it. So that's a good point. And, you know, that was the problem with this gun, is that if I want to be able to plug in the information that's in the cartridge list that comes with the gun, I had to buy a specific kind of ammo. And that was the only one out of the 5 rounds in the booklet that I could even get, that I could find easily. So some of the ammunition in that booklet's not even available. So no, that's a very good point. Yeah, no, I'll bring, that's why I was going to go with core lock for the Mossberg, because that's a little more readily available. The fact I can buy it at Walmart and it's a good ammo. So I'll be bringing probably 3 or 4 boxes if we want to play around with it a little bit and just do some target shooting and stuff. I'll have plenty with me. Don't worry about that.
Just make sure you don't leave it at home, because you're gonna pretty much have to drive home to get it.
Oh no, and I'm bringing a bunch of rifles with me. Don't worry about that. I'll make sure I bring the Ruger Ranch.
Everything.
We'll have the Ruger Ranch with us. I've got several boxes of hunting ammo for the Ruger Ranch, 7.62x39. So
we'll probably end up doing more playing and making videos than we will actual hunting, to be honest.
Yeah. But did you get anything? Nope. To shoot some ammo? Yep. Did you get anything?
I want to toss out just a little food for thought here. And when you're thinking about all these cartridges, the one that's taken more deer in this country than any other one by a significant amount is the 30 WCF, otherwise known as 3030.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So talking about the calibers again, let's take it back. You know, a lot of the rifles you can get a specific line. Regardless of what caliber you get, it's going to be the same price. Like the Mossberg Patriot, whether you go 223 Remington all the way up to 30-06, the gun is $309 without a scope, $349 with a scope. So yeah, 30-30. Okay, get yourself for $400. You can get yourself a nice lever action 30-30 rifle. You know, you don't have to spend a whole lot of, and that typically that rifle is going to be legal in most, if not all, states for deer hunting, unless it's a slug state only. Okay, slug hunting state only, but again, the 30-30 is a fantastic rifle. Tony, what would you say? What's your maximum effective range for 30-30?
I wouldn't push it past 150 yards, but I would
Okay.
imagine you could probably do 175, 200 and not worry.
Yeah, Hornady makes their Lever Evolution ammo that's got the polymer tip on it, which is safe to load in the magazine tube of the 30-30. You don't have to worry about rounds going off. Most of the time you've got that round nose ammunition for the 30-30 soft point. So yeah, or just lead ammo for that matter. But yeah, you can easily get something within 200 yards with your 30-30. Get yourself some premium ammunition. You can definitely take it out a little bit further too.
I've got a cousin who grew up shooting a 30-30 and just, a Winchester 94. He never scoped it. He always shot just the regular buckhorn sight that came on it.
Yeah.
And even with open sights, I mean, he shot that rifle for over 20 years before he went to a bolt action. And if there's a deer within 150 yards, he's going to hit it.
Yeah.
So practice, no matter what you shoot. And if you've never shot deer before, get some of those targets that actually show the vital zone, so you know exactly where to shoot that deer, and then you can visualize no matter what angle. If you don't have a perfect broadside shot, maybe you're quartering away, quartering to, you need to be able to visualize where the vitals are, so you can still, put your shot in the right area to do that clean, ethical kill.
Would there ever be a time where you'd shoot the deer from the front? You know how they have that like white patch under their neck?
I've actually done it before. I don't recommend it.
The reason I would ask is I would think that the bullet's going to pass through and then damage the meat or damage one of the other organs inside and end up with, spoiling your meat.
Yeah, it could hit the intestines if it passes right through the lungs and liver.
Yeah, it's something that you have to think about. You got to be willing, and with experience comes knowing when not to shoot. I think that's only something that you can really get with a few deer hunts under your belt is, when do you take the shot? When do you pass up the shot? When do you, and it depends, is it the first day of the hunt? Is it the last day of the hunt? Are you only getting to hunt one day? There's times that, I'll take what's presented, or there's times that I'll wait. I don't like shooting them square on, and I've seen deer that were running away, and we had to shoot at the rump, and with the right gun, you can still get the bullet to make it clear up to the vitals, but there's a lot of meat gets ruined. You're right, and if you're looking for meat, then you don't want to shoot those good roasts in the back.
Yeah,
you're just dropped your first deer, shot your first deer, and it ran off. I'm going to say something that other people may not tell you, and that's do not get on that deer the minute you shoot it. If you shoot it and it runs, just wait for about a half an hour. Let the deer lay down.
Yeah, Tony, I did that, and we lost it in the marsh. So when I had the second opportunity, I went down and went after it.
I've heard two schools of thought on this, because I tend to agree with Tony on this. It also depends on if you know where the shot went, or if you're not sure you got a good shot on the deer too. So if you know that you hit them, square in the boiler room, then yeah, let them run off. Don't chase them, because then they'll keep running and you'll get that lactic acid buildup in the meat. So just watch and see if you can see where they went. But I've also seen deer that weren't hit that hard, that went and crawled into, a plum thicket or something like that. And we gave them a while to die. We went to go creep up on the deer, and it actually laid there long enough that, it clotted up and it wasn't bleeding anymore, or it wasn't bleeding out. And that deer took off and ran over the hill, and we lost that deer. And you feel sick when that happens, when you shot a deer and it runs off and you can't get to it. But that deer actually was probably going to live to run another day too, because of that, because it wasn't hit in the vitals.
Yeah.
And it did actually have enough time to stop bleeding, and it got its wind back, and it took off again. So there's two schools, and the problem is there's no right or wrong 100% of the time. So if you can make that good shot right away is always what you're looking for. As a hunter, you're looking for that one shot kill where the animal doesn't suffer.
And if you're curious about, I'm just talking about calibers and stuff, the 7.62 by 39, I got a buddy of mine who posted a video. Him and his son went on a deer hunt in Oklahoma and shot a really nice buck with his Ruger Ranch rifle. Chambered at 7.62 by 39, hit it at 100 yards and dropped it instantly. It did not run. I mean, it done. And his son had a perfect shot on it. So, again, you want to make sure you take the best shot you possibly can. Don't just do it because it's opening day or because that's make sure it's the shot is the most important thing. Because if you miss, you're going to lose that opportunity. You might not get it back, or you might only wound the animal and it's going to get away. Or the idea is to drop it as humanely as possible.
Right.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, I was just gonna echo that.
Yeah. So Tony, I hear you're a big fan of 30-06 with a synthetic stock. Is that right?
No.
That was my first deer rifle. It was a Mossberg bolt action 30-06 with a synthetic stock. And it would kick like a mule, man. It was so unpleasant to shoot. I basically freaking hit myself in the face every time I'd fire, no matter how I held it. If you're gonna go 30-06, I'd recommend a nice heavy stock, a wood stock. What do you think, Tony? Somebody wants to go 06 for center fire.
I don't think I would take one out of the house to shoot it if it didn't weigh at least about 8 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, the stock that comes on the Mossberg Patriot is very, very light. I mean, it is free-floated and such, but it's very light. I wouldn't want to do anything, say, over a 308 with that rifle, just my opinion. If you get yourself a nice surplus rifle and you can hunt with it, that'd be great too.
I worry about the people that are shooting synthetic stock 300s and any Magnum.
Yeah.
Without a muzzle brake, I can't imagine what that does to you.
Yeah, it sucked. All right, it was a great rifle. It always fired and it was accurate, but it was not. I did not look forward to pulling the trigger on it. It kind of steered me away from deer hunting for a little while until I picked up some other rifles.
That's right. Talking about some of the Magnums, I have a Woodstock early 80s M77 Ruger in 7mm mag. And recoil on that thing is brutal, even though it does weigh about 8.5 pounds.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
You can always.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Tony, go ahead. Age before beauty.
My gun was a ultralight Savage 30-06, so it weighed between 4 and 5 pounds, and I couldn't stand to shoot it more than 5 times at once. So, it was a bad day at the range when that went. So I got rid of it. I'm like, I won't own a gun that I don't want to shoot.
Samson says, one shot. You're not shooting a lot, one shot, one kill. But if you can't even stand to sight the thing in, or if it's that unpleasant, or you're more worried about hitting yourself in the face with your scope, I mean, get the caliber, get the rifle you're going to be comfortable shooting and most confident.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with that. And I was looking at Samson's comment as well. Like that, my 7mm. I mean, I inherited that from my grandfather, but that's where it hurts so bad that after about 5 rounds, I can't shoot it anymore because I'm flinching. Yeah. So that's where I can never get proficient with that rifle. And it's not even sighted in all that well because I can't fire it more than a few times in any given day.
I have
my 308.
Sorry. I'll admit one thing, that likely when you're out hunting with the gun, you won't notice the recoil because
that's
around the shot and stuff. Yeah,
I was gonna say you don't, and when you shoot at a deer, the adrenaline's pumping. I'm trying just to hold steady and to control my breathing. When I've got a nice deer in my scope, and it doesn't matter whether it's a buck that would go on the wall or if it's just a big doe. It happens to me. I always get excited, and I always have to consciously tell myself to calm down and breathe and fight that adrenaline rush. And you don't notice the recoil, but at the same time, I'm still fighting the flinch that I developed with my last 270 that was a synthetic stock, and it was just a 270. But, I got scope bit a couple times, not hard enough to cut me, but, I still I slapped the trigger more than I ought to, and I'm still fighting through that. So it's important to be able to shoot the gun as you sight it in or as you practice, and that's where something like a lead sled, something like that to help take that bite out of the recoil, who was it? Somebody said in the chat that limb saver pads, Moob Jiggle said it, limb savers or shoulder savers. You know, if you need to, you can even get one of those slip-on recoil pads that just slips over the butt of your gun. And yeah, they look fugly, but at the same time, if it helps you shoot, then it's worth it. Nothing's ugly if it helps.
Yeah, I did the rubber pad on mine plus the weighted shooting thing. You know, I don't have a lead sled, but it's the same thing. You put weight in it, and it holds the rifle steady. And that thing still black and blued my shoulder. I'd never seen a gun kick like this damn thing did.
I actually had the slip-on pad on an SKS. The first deer
I'm too old for this kind of crap.
The first deer I ever shot was with an SKS with a permanently modified magazine that would only accept 5 rounds, and I had the slip-on butt pad not because of the recoil, just to increase length of pull on it. So those things are nice for more than just one reason too.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about with the holding steady and whatnot. Yeah, that's what you don't want to be flinching when you pull the trigger because you know it's going to hurt. But that's also where I'm one of those oddballs. I look down my scope at a deer, even because I've shot 2 of them at this point. I grew up shooting bullfrogs with a BB gun and 22, and this, you know, and I've shot a number of other things as well. I go on my sights and look down that scope and put the crosshair on that deer. It feels no different than punching paper for me. So that's where the holding steady for the adrenaline isn't there. But you need to make sure you are proficient enough with your firearm of choice to put that round where it needs to go at whatever range that you are, you know, trying to shoot at, and at whatever angle you're trying to shoot at, in whatever weather you're trying to shoot.
Buck beaver is a real thing.
Sorry?
I said buck beaver is a real thing. You're lucky if you don't have it.
Yeah, I can't imagine shooting so many deer in my lifetime that I don't get excited when I put one in the crosshairs.
So Sandhills, you explained that to me on a previous show, and I texted you from the blind. The one I shot in the morning, I didn't feel any adrenaline until after I shot it. That's the one that got away. And the adrenaline rush lasted about 10 minutes, and it was not as intense as the adrenaline rush you get when you're in a fist fight. And I know you said you haven't been in a fist fight. You're in a fist fight, 90 minutes later, you're still ready to go. This was light. It was, and I'm like, and I texted you and I said, all right, I get the whole adrenaline rush, but in 10 minutes it was gone. When that deer came up later, and I thought I was done for the day, I was totally calm. I was totally calm with the first shot too, but I was totally calm, and I shot it twice just like I did the first one, and I had no adrenaline rush. Even when I went down there with my sidearm and I had to chase after the damn thing, I still felt no adrenaline. And afterward, I was breathing hard, and I'm like, is this adrenaline rush? And I'm like, no, I just drugged this thing 250 yards. That's why I'm old. That's why I'm breathing hard. So I was like, but when I looked at it, I hate to say this, but I looked at it kind of like combat, and it's like, this is a target. This isn't a living thing. Yeah. This isn't something that I've got to feel bad about later. It's simply a target. And that's kind of a combat or self-defense kind of thing too, is if you stop to think, this is alive and I'm ending a life, or I'm sending a soul to heaven or whatever, you're not going to do it. So I got the buck fever thing just a little bit, and so I'm there thinking, all right, maybe if I go hunting again this year, or if I go next year, will I feel differently? I'm kind of curious to find out.
You guys, the two of you that don't have that effect happen to you, are lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't look at it really, honestly, as any different than killing a person. It's just, you got to do what you got to do, put your rounds on target, and you know, my whole thing when I went after it with my sidearm, I talked to Sarge about this, about how sometimes law enforcement, you know, when they shoot to end the threat, they're shooting, and the threat's still coming to. This threat wasn't coming. It wasn't a threat. This wasn't coming at me. It was running away from me, and I just wanted to put it down and for it to stop suffering. And I had the same kind of feeling that somebody gets when they've got a suspect charging them, or you know, just stop. And that's what I was. So I kind of experienced that a little bit too. I don't want the animal to suffer, but I mean, if it's on adrenaline and it's on instinct and it's a stupid animal and it wants to run away from getting put out of its misery, there's not much I can do other than chase it.
Now, I have never suffered buck fever either in the daytime. At night, we were hunting coyote at night, and God, I'll tell you what, when you're calling a predator in,
that's or is that more of a survival instinct on your part coming? It's like, okay, I'm a little bit lower on the food chain at nighttime.
I don't know, man. I was sweating freaking bullets, and it was goddamn 10 degrees outside.
All right, okay, go ahead. So, Squib, a lot of this could come from your combat training. That's maybe why your idea of the target's different from most of us that did not serve.
It's simply a target. It's nothing more to me than So, like Calaveras said, I don't look at it any different than punching paper. But now I want to ask Sandhills, what if you've been out there hunting for days on end and you haven't seen anything, or nothing's been close enough, or it's not the deer you want, it's not the angle, whatever it is, and then on the last day, you got that perfect shot or that perfect deer or whatever it is, and would you think that would create the buck fever more so than half an hour after sunup on opening day?
No, I
don't think so. I think that it either buck fever either happens or it doesn't. And I've talked to other people who don't struggle with it. I think a lot of it's personality too. Some guys do, some guys don't, or ladies do, and some ladies don't. Tony, I know where you're coming from because I feel it too. I get you. So, but I guess the part of it too is knowing, if you know what it is, you recognize it for what it is, and you can control it, then, that's something. But knowing your shot placement, knowing that you did a good job, that's something that only comes from hunting experience, because there have been times that more often than not, I've shot a deer and it didn't drop on the spot. It ran off a ways. But if I hit that deer the way that I want to, that deer's dead and he doesn't know it yet. And he's going to go 20, 30 yards at the most, and then he's going to stop. He's going to be very confused, and he's just going to expire right there and fall over. And I don't have to shoot him again, and I don't have to and I don't want to say that you were panicking, Squib, because I know you weren't panicked, but I can't think of a better term for it than doing that mag dump with your sidearm. You weren't panicked for your safety, but you were panicked that the deer was going to get away and suffer. Maybe panic is the right word still.
Yeah.
You were concerned, and
no, you could say panic to some extent. It's kind of like, okay, this is my last chance today to get this stupid thing. I've gone to this much trouble. I froze all day, like Tony's saying, freezing my butt off.
Yeah.
My wife's expecting me to come home with a deer. I can't hit it in the head because she wants its head.
Right.
I'm not coming home without this thing, but also, just die, okay? This is, I don't want the animal to sit there for 3 minutes frothing and just, and it's
right,
like,
exactly. And so if you walk up to the thing and, if it's still, there's life in its eyes and its eyes are moving, it's focusing, then yes, it needs to be euthanized. But, a lot of the time, there's still some muscle reflex going on, but the deer is actually dead. And there's no life in the eyes too. And I have shot deer that didn't need to be shot more than one time, just to keep them from running off or whatever, or they'll be standing there. I'll go ahead and, in the past I've put one more in the chest just to make sure that it went ahead and died. And, looking back, I'm sure that deer was not going anywhere anyway. And it just kind of comes with experience. If you're just starting out deer hunting, which, I know you are, and some of the other people maybe listening are looking for some good advice. Some of the stuff that we're talking about, you can't teach and you can't advise. You can only just get there yourself. It's like driving. We can teach you the mechanics, but we can't teach you all the nuances of driving and traffic and whatnot. You just learn. And then it becomes second nature. And after, 20, 30 years of doing this, then there's stuff that you realize that, you've learned that you never thought about, but you just know it now.
That's where
perfect example of that. Running off after they're dead and they just don't know it yet is if you ever watched anybody butcher a chicken, they'll chop chicken's head off and the thing will run off and run 100 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Chickens or snakes are that way too. If you take the head off a snake,
adrenaline, the nerves are still going. It's done. It's gone, but it still thinks it's doesn't think it's not thinking anything. It's just the chemical reaction with the nerves that are still happening.
That's where a comment I've been trying to get in here for a minute. That's where I know I heard. I think it was Squib made the comment about the. Do you pass on this one? Do you take that one? I guess for trophy hunters, they will pass on an animal because it's not a big enough trophy. Myself personally, I am a firm believer in, because I hunt for the meat. I mean, yes, it is the experience. I do enjoy the outdoors, so it's not that it's cheaper to get meat this way or whatever. But if it's an animal that you would be willing to take on closing day, is the same animal I'd be willing to take on opening day. I'm not gonna pass on any of them. If I get one available that's legal, I don't care if it's 5 minutes after opening day. On opening day, I'll take it, because that's where, if you're hunting in an area that's really heavily populated with deer, or even like a farm, a high fence animals down in Texas or whatever, then you may be able to be more choosy about it. But if you're hunting in areas like most of us are, that may be the only animal you see.
Yeah.
Hey man, those spots just mean it's tender.
Now, see, I agree with Calaveras there. That's exactly why I got the doe tags as well. And when I shot the one at the end of the day, I thought it was a doe. And then I go up there and it's got spikes, and I'm like, crap. Well, I got 3 buck tags, so I'm good, and I got 2 doe tags. But I made sure I paid extra, so in case I did make a mistake like that and thought it was a spike and it turned out to be a doe, or the only thing I saw that day was a doe, and I'm coming home with some meat, because I wasn't really hunting for trophy. The trophy thing came up at the very end, right before I walked out the door. So, and I'm not against people who do taxidermy. I think that if you're just going to take it for the pelt or the head, and it's got a ton of meat on it, and you don't do something with the meat, that's kind of a jerk move. But
I want to
go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say, I want to address the topic of trophy hunting a little bit here, because I think that's kind of a relative term. It's not always the negative connotation that some people have, and even some hunters and some Pro 2A people, when you say trophy hunting, all of a sudden they get a bad taste in their mouth. And I know that there are some people who flat out just go out and hunt antlers, and it's kind of like shooting a rhino, cutting off the horn and leaving it lay. I mean, that's horrible, and I would never condone doing anything like that, even with deer. But part of it too depends on, is this the only time you're ever going to hunt? Did you spend thousands of dollars to do this? It's a once in a lifetime, or it's a once in every 10 years or something trip for you? Or is it something that, where I go hunting, if I can hunt in November when it is legal to harvest a deer with antlers, there's lots of deer on the ranch, and I've got the option to be picky. And if I don't get a deer, I don't get a deer, and it's not the end of my world, because I go up there just to go home, just to go goof around for a couple days. And if I don't shoot a deer at all, then it wasn't a busted hunt for me. It was still successful. But if I see a deer and I pass on it, it's not just because I'm only thinking about the antlers. If I see a magnificent set of antlers on a deer, that's the deer I'm going to shoot because it's beautiful. If I can afford to mount it, I'll mount it, put it on the wall too, and say, look at this deer. This is the kind of deer that we have where I come from. And I ate that deer, and I enjoyed it, and I appreciated that God put that animal on the planet for me. So it's not always the fact that, some people are like, well, just shoot whatever, because if you're shooting one just because it has nice antlers, then, you're a bad person. And that's not always the case either. So there's a lot of factors.
Let's clarify something right here and now. There's a difference between trophy hunting and antler hunting. Because any deer you shoot is a trophy, no matter what the hell it is.
Indeed.
I'm opposed to the idea of what they quote unquote call trophy hunting, where you're out there hunting for a big friggin' rack and the meat can go to hell. But I seen that concept somewhere just here recently. I never really thought about it, but yeah, anything you manage to harvest is a trophy. So,
well, is there any other animals in, I guess, just the United States, maybe even North America, besides bear that you would hunt and eat the meat?
Elk.
Now, I understand that the hogs are out there too. So okay, I didn't know about the elk. Is there anything else?
Elk, moose, caribou. If you go far enough north in North America,
probably the best game animal there is elk.
Yeah,
and I don't know the antelope too. If you go into western Nebraska, there's antelope.
Yeah,
Wyoming, Colorado.
Pink said turkey out in the chat.
Oh, turkey.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many. If you just want to talk like large game animals.
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, aside from birds and stuff like that, I was talking about like large game. I don't know why I didn't think about the elk and the moose. You know, I should.
Now let me say this too, because there are a couple different schools. If I shoot a nice, wall worthy or taxidermy worthy buck, I recognize the fact that meat probably isn't going to be quite as high quality as a nice, fat doe that's been eating corn out of the cornfield that fell off the stalks. I get that there's a difference in the meat. So if you're strictly hunting for meat, then you probably aren't looking for a buck, to be honest. Because go ahead, Tony.
I just want to ask Squib a question. I thought you was done.
Oh, yeah, I'm done.
Squibby, do they specify you have to shoot a doe, or is it antlerless only?
I don't know. I've heard it called doe season. I've heard it called late doe season, and I've heard it called late antlerless. Let's see if I've got anything in the guidebook. Let me get back to you.
Here it's antlerless only, and a spike is fine. That's antlerless here.
When Travis and I go out, the state of Nebraska says antlerless. It's one deer, and it can't have antlers more than 6 inches long.
That's pretty similar to what it is here.
So if you do end up shooting a spike or a button, then because you can't tell from a distance, so it's worded that way so that you didn't break a law.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, it says late antlerless firearm, 1 per kill tag, December 17th to January 1st. So, yeah, I guess it's antlerless because, I mean, a buck could drop his antlers by, end of December, beginning of January? Right?
God, I don't have any idea when they do that.
I don't think, no, typically I still see them with their antlers until another month or two goes by. But I don't know if I can get this in frame very well, but it describes what the definitions are of a buck and an antlerless there for the state of Nebraska.
There you go.
I don't think it'll focus very well.
No, it is.
You read it? Okay.
Yep.
So a buck has to have at least one antler, 6 inches or longer, and an antlerless is no antlers or antlers no more than 6 inches in length.
I just put the definition for Texas in the side chat there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm seeing if there's anything else in this regarding antlerless, but I don't.
That also covers the occasional anomaly because there have been female deer harvested with antlers, and it's rare, but it's happened.
There was something that I read online about like the Michigan DNR Q&A kind of page, and there was something in there about if you shoot a doe by mistake, they want you to fess it up to the DNR. That if you fess up to making a mistake, they're more likely to go easy on you than if they find out that you did it. So, find out on their own because you're trying to cover it up. So, I don't know how that goes, but
Pink, I don't think I don't think that those are trans deer. I think
Trans deer. That's
those
a
are genetic anomalies.
But only between the months of September through October. Yes.
Well, yeah, I've got an antlerless only tag. That's the other problem is we have antlerless only tags, so we can't even say that this buck identifies as a doe.
Oh God, David, LGBT.
Now that would be, that's what you do. You go to the DNR at the check station, and they'd be like, "You got a buck tag, and this is a doe." Yeah, but she identifies as a buck.
Yes, exactly. Right.
When are we
reading
that?
I'm reading the three. Sorry.
When we have the snowflake season for okay, if a buck that identifies as a doe or vice versa. I mean, that would help the country, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably just a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm reading the 3 or 4 paragraphs here about antlerless deer hunting license, and it just talks about, it's more or less a copy of regular firearm season as far as having to get a permit, where you have to go, getting permission from private landowner, such and such. There's nothing specifically in there that actually says, buck, doe, whatever. Antlerless is antlerless, so I guess at that point, I would think that biology's taken over. They've dropped their antlers, or they're dropping their antlers at that time, and they've got it that way just so you don't make a mistake, right?
Well, with all the rules and regulations as far as hunting goes, obviously people break all the rules and regulations, but if you get caught doing that, do you just lose your hunting privileges, or could it go as far as losing your firearms and even your Second Amendment right?
It depends on the offense. It depends, of course, on the state too, and what the laws are for punishments. But I mean, I've heard of people getting their firearm confiscated depending on the offense. I've heard of people. I know somebody who tried to fudge on he bought resident permits, and they had moved across the state line before, but they still claimed residence in the state where they hunted, and they got busted for that. And I think for a year they lost their hunting privileges in the state where they were hunting.
And the reason they did that, David, is because the non-resident is so much cheaper. I'm sorry, the resident is so much cheaper than the non-resident. I mean, The markup is pretty big.
Like for Nebraska, if you are a resident, $37 is the price of the deer permit. Plus, you have to have a habitat stamp, which is another $25. But that's a one-time each year stamp, and permits are $37 per permit. And if you wanted to come out and hunt with us, then your permit would be, I think, $270 instead of $37. So yeah, it's a big markup.
That's a good thing for me to know too, because I got the green light from the missus to come out there with you guys to get another deer. Not this year, but in the future. She's like, yeah, go on out there. Bring one home.
That $275 sounds like a lot, but for people that have to hunt, say, Jim down in Texas, there's very little public land available. You might pay $300, $400, $500 to have public access to land for the weekend. If you're, or not public, but private land access for a weekend. If you got to go find somebody that has land, if you need to go find a place to go, or a ranch or a professional hunting ranch, right?
Yep.
It also depends on, because Nebraska has different permits if you want to hunt statewide versus the state's carved up into units, and the units are all bounded by different highways. So I only ever hunt one unit, so I don't have to get a statewide permit.
Yeah.
But if you want a statewide buck non-resident, $798. So yeah.
And David, to give you an idea, so I bought 3 buck tags and 2 doe tags for 2 units in Michigan. One for one friend's farm and one for another friend's farm that were about 2 hours apart. And altogether, I spent $104. And that way I was covered whether I went hunting at one place or both, because I only ended up going to one of the farms. I didn't have enough time to go to the other. And I was covered whether I shot a buck or a doe. I thought I paid more than this, though. It just seemed, because I had to go there twice. That's the thing that was weird. I had to go get some initial license and put down a deposit or something, and then I had to come back a month later to make sure there were so many available, and there were plenty of, and I bought the other licenses about a month later, and just went to Bass Pro Shop. I mean, you can go to Ace Hardware, you can go to a sporting goods store. They're all over the place where you can buy the licenses. But it was weird that I had to go twice. And my friend that I was hunting with, he didn't have to go twice, so he's not sure why they made me do that. But yeah, just adding the receipts together, it come out to $104. But I could have swore I spent more than that, because this stuff can get pretty pricey.
Oh yeah,
And
I mean, it's
I was
not,
wrong.
yeah.
For the permit that Travis and I are going to hunt with, it's only $70 for non-resident. So $70 plus a $25 habitat stamp is $95 if you did want to come down, Squib, or anybody, Tony, David. I can't have everybody come all at once, but there's room for 3 or 4 of us.
You know, for the area where you hunt, you know, for the non-residents, that's, you said it's, you know, about $95, you know, a grand total for non-resident.
Yeah. If we do the January hunt, it's a different kind of permit than just your normal November deer hunt permit. If you wanted to come out and shoot something with antlers, then non-resident is $242 plus the $25 stamp.
Dang.
Which still isn't terrible compared to some states, I know.
Yeah, that's right. I may have to, one of these years, take you up on that, you know, for the January hunt.
Yeah, that's the best time, because we've got about 10 other family members typically that hunt, 10 or 12 other family members in November that really don't care about going out the rest of the year. So
now
there's a lot of those family members, they're of the mindset that you know, you'll shame somebody if their deer doesn't have as big antlers as your deer. And I don't necessarily always fall into that, but that's cool that they can, you know, if it makes them happy, it makes them happy.
The other aspect we haven't talked about yet is, what do you do once it's on the ground? That's why I highly recommend, if you can, go with somebody that has some hunting experience so they can help you with the gutting part of it, because that's not always, that can be an interesting first time experience for people. You know, you especially if you have a gut shot, it's going to be a lot of work. So the whole processing part, whether you need to watch some YouTube videos or get the proper tools that you need to gut it in the field, have a plan for what you're going to do with it afterwards. Are you confident? Are you strong enough? Do you have the strength to hang it and skin it and debone it and process it, or have a place lined up where you can take it, have a weight, know how to get it back to your vehicle, Squib, dragging it back 250 yards. I've been in situations where we've had to have that too. Maybe take some sort of a little cart with you, or have an ATV on standby, or have your vehicle as close as you possibly can, because it never fails. That one buck or doe that you're going to get, it's going to be as far from the vehicle as possible. You know, I would recommend definitely going with a friend if possible to help you get that animal back. Have a way to get it back easily. I know you've got your sleds you can drag them on. You've got whatever, you know, because I've been in hunts before and been with friends, and we've got deer before, and it was not easy getting them back because we didn't have a four-wheeler, we didn't have a cart, we didn't have any kind of a sled, we had a rope.
Yeah, I got lucky. My deer, we were able to drive the pickup right up to it. So we gutted it and just picked it up and set it on the tailgate. The one I got here in California, we drove the ATV up to it, threw it in the back of the ATV, took it to the house, used a forklift actually as so that way you can adjust the height instead of hanging it from a tree, just, you know, hanging from the forklift tines to do the processing.
Yeah. Yeah, so have a plan for what you're going to do. For me, depending on what we do, I've got I'm actually going to take mine to the butcher and have them make it into, I mean, you can do your own processing at home. You can get into the meat grinding and the slicing and blending and all that. I'll be bringing mine back home to a butcher shop. I'm going to have it made into salami and sticks and jerky and all that fun stuff. I like how I assume I'm going to get something, Sandals. This puts a lot of pressure on you. You know?
Not really. the likelihood of actually getting something is it is directly proportionate to the amount of effort we actually put into this.
There you go.
So if we're goofing off the whole time and we're not real serious about it, which lately I just haven't been super serious about it, because like I said, for me it's just going home. With you there, I'll be more serious because I don't want you to, you know, drive that far and not get a deer. But
I'm actually getting because I drive a Jeep Cherokee, it's going to be hard. I don't really want to transport inside my vehicle to keep the vehicle clean and the smell and everything. I bought a trailer hitch cargo carrier that I ordered online that's coming, that we can wrap it up in a tarp and put it on the back of that'll hold up to 500 pounds. And then I'll be able to get it. What's that?
I use the same thing because I don't have a good liner for the back of my Tahoe.
Yeah.
So I've got the nice one that hinges, and if I don't have anything on it, then I can fold it up and pin it. So yeah, it's nice.
This one was relatively inexpensive. It got pretty good ratings. It should be okay. I'm only going to have it on essentially for the hunts, or if I've got something big to transport. When you've got an SUV, it's a little bit harder for the hunting aspect, unless you had a trailer or something you could use. Or so I'm shooting for a pickup truck here pretty soon. But yeah, definitely have a plan for how to get it back. Quarter in the field, obviously check it in the right way you're supposed to. Yeah. You have a lot of options for what you can do.
Can I jump in real quick there?
Yeah, well, go ahead, guys.
I was talking about the getting it back if you have an SUV, as opposed to the bed of a truck because you don't want to get blood in your vehicle, this kind of thing. If you have one of the 2-inch slide-in receivers on the back of your vehicle for towing, they make the a wire panel about 3.5 feet wide, about 2 feet across, that fits into that receiver, so you can slide it in there. Throw your deer up on there, cover it in a tarp, because a lot of places they don't want you carrying them openly.
That's what Travis was talking about.
That's that. I say cargo. I must have said cargo carrier. I meant to say like a trailer hitch style platform, basically that you plug in with your hitch and your bolt and everything. And yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, those are one of the least expensive. I got mine online. I ended up ordering it. It's going to be $50 delivered, and honestly, I need it. Because having a house, it's hard for me to haul stuff around sometimes. I end up having to borrow a trailer constantly, whether I got to move out tree limbs and wood and stuff like that from the property. But that's an easy way to go. Definitely.
I'll tell you what, I was thinking about how I was going to get one out of the woods if I got one, and I bought one of those pneumatic tire steel wagons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Another thing to be said about that hitch haul or hitch basket or whatever you want to call it that goes into the trailer receiver is if you're alone, getting a Nebraska deer, an Iowa, Illinois deer, up here they're bigger than they are in other parts of the world. And get that sucker up into the back of a pickup by yourself. There's 2 ways to do it. You either bust your back or you get yourself completely covered in nastiness, blood and whatnot. Because you got to bear hug the thing to throw it in the pickup if you're alone, versus getting it that 2 feet, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, whatever, off the ground onto that hitch basket is a lot easier.
Yeah,
they even make those with ramps.
Yeah, they do. So if you haul an ATV or a powered wheelchair or something like that on it, yeah, they do. Now I can tell you, do not leave your deer just lying on one of those in a place where your dad has a dog that likes deer meat. Don't ask me how I know, but the deer that I shot last year came home missing most of a hindquarter.
Ooh.
I bought this little wagon because I hunt in the place is called Sandridge State Forest. And it's just a big freaking sandy area in this state that they allow horseback riding in, but no ATV, no motorized stuff in the forest at all. So you're either going to drag the thing, which is going to be a quarter of a mile at least, or, me, I'm not physically capable of dragging 250-pound deer a quarter of a mile. I'd be dead with the deer. So I thought this wagon with the pneumatic tires would work well. So that's why I went that route.
There are lots of nice, cool things like that. Even just that, I've seen that roll-up plastic sheet. It's kind of like those roll-up sheet sleds that we all had as a kid.
Yeah.
If we grew up in a place with snow. Basically, they make one of those that you can just roll it up and put it in your pack, and it's got a tow rope on it. And that will help you drag that deer over, grass and snow and whatnot too. It just makes it slide better.
I actually thought about that.
But your little wagon, I think I've seen people use those like on hunting shows on TV, and those look pretty slick because the tires are big enough that you can get them up and over sticks and whatnot.
Yep.
I hope so. Well, I don't know. I'm one that deer hunts, but I don't care if I get one or not because I don't really like it that much. This year, it's like it was crappy weather for deer season. The first day it rained all day. Then the second day was when we had the 27 tornadoes.
Oh God!
And the third day it was rain changing to snow.
I think we're in the exact same latitude because our weather is the same, dude. We get the same crap. Yeah, thunderstorms and tornadoes in the morning and snow by the end of the night, man. I'll tell you what, it's crazy.
And I'm, old enough. I'm like, I'm not going to go out there and get soaked and freeze my ass off to get a deer that I don't particularly like.
Yeah.
That brings us to another good piece of advice. If you've never deer hunted before, make sure that you've got the proper cold weather gear or rain gear or whatever. Keep your fingers and your toes and your face warm.
I'll tell you, I do not have rain gear, and that's my own dumbass fault. But those little pocket hand warmer thingies, those little packets that you squish around and activate, work really well.
No way, they suck.
I think that Squib can back me up on this, though. The thing that'll make or break a hunt is cold toes and cold fingers. The rest of you can deal, but when the fingers and the toes get cold, even I'm done, and I like the cold weather.
So when I was setting in the hunting blind and saw the deer in the morning, tracked it about midday, and then the rest of the afternoon I'm on the lobby and just sitting there twiddling my thumbs because we're not really seeing a whole lot of deer except off in the distance. And I've been told they're active in the morning, they're active right before sundown, but in the middle of the day, don't press your luck. So I got nothing but time, and I'm thinking about my cold toes, and I'm thinking about everything else, and I was writing down notes, and the first thing I put, Mickey Mouse boots. Very first thing on my list.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to the surplus store, and I'm getting me some Mickey Mouse boots for next year.
Now, as for those hand warmers, the hand ones are kind of small and they help, but that's a trick I learned from one of my uncles from duck hunting. The ones actually that are meant for putting in your boots are larger, and if you put them into your gloves, it helps your hands a little more than the little ones do. But yeah, when it starts getting really cold and you can't feel your toes and this kind of stuff anymore, yeah, it does become considerably less fun.
Yeah, the ones for your boots are shaped kind of like insoles. They sell them at the sporting goods store, hand warmer, foot warmer, that sort of thing. Well, I bought a couple of hand warmers because I've never used these things before, and I thought, I'll just, for the price, I'll just keep them in my backpack just in case. And my feet are freezing. So what do? I take off my boots. I take off both my socks. I rub these things together. I get them warm. I shove them in my boots, and they're not working. If anything, I feel like I've got wet bags of sand in my boots now. So I'm texting Stan Hills, and I said, I put my hand warmers in my boots. And what did you text back? What did you do with your foot warmers then or something?
Yeah, no, I think they need oxygen.
Yeah, I think that's what I asked you.
If I get oxygen if they're laced into your waterproof boots. So
right, they have to be agitated to continue to work.
Vanessa,
they were activated. They felt warm in my hands, and I put them in my boots, but they really didn't help warm up my toes at all. I probably should have got the foot warmers, but those were in my gloves, of course, right?
The thing about the foot warmers is they have adhesive on them so that number one, they stay put. And there's two different kinds. Some go on top of your toes, and some go underneath your toes, outside your sock, and but inside the boot. And I mean, some of them, they'll tell you on the package. But the
drove
into a dead zone.
A
hand warmer isn't.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. Guys, I need you to chat for just a minute. I got something I need to take care of real quick. Let's talk about some essential items you should take when you go out there. Vanessa Kitty has some suggestions. Methods for making fire, first aid, butchering equipment, if you want to talk about that for a sec. I will be right back. You guys hold down the fort for 1 minute.
Have some bottled water with you, too. Not just to stay hydrated, which is important, but after you put that deer on the ground, and, I mean, again, I don't want to be gross or disgusting or sound brutal, but the way to properly field dress a deer, you're going to be elbow deep inside the body cavity of this thing, and it's messy. There's no way around it. So just having some bottled water on hand to wash your hands off So that even so you can get back in the vehicle and, you know, touch your steering wheel is nice to have.
A way to sharpen a knife. Something.
Yes.
Yeah, what I did for the deer gutting thing was my friend advised me to get some rubber gloves, like for doing dishes, the ones with the, you know, they're more or less gauntlets. They go up to your elbow or whatnot. So I bought the biggest pair I could find at Walmart. And those were thrown away when we were done gutting the deer. And then I also bought, when I was buying all the scent blocker stuff, I spent a lot of money on scent blocker stuff. They had a package of hand wipes, kind of like wet ones, but they were scent blocker versions. So I used the wipes and the rubber gloves to stay away from that. But I did have a couple bottled waters in my pack, and it didn't even occur to me to use that.
Yeah, now if you've got the wipes, I mean, that would work too. But the one thing that I will say too is, because I've got a box of, in Nebraska we call them AI gloves, artificial insemination gloves. They're plastic gloves that are full shoulder length sleeves, basically, which always fall down if you don't have a rubber band to hold them up. But I mean, I've used those calf pulling gloves, yes, or preg checking gloves. But not everybody has been around cattle. So it looks like a clear, heavy plastic glove, and it goes clear up your arm. I put on rubber gloves, exam gloves inside of those, and somehow still, you know, typically the bullet will break a rib or something as it goes in, and there's, you know, some jagged bone in there. I'm still always nicking the back of my hand and tearing my gloves open and getting blood inside my gloves, no matter what I do.
Okay, I just Googled this, Sandhills. Amazon says, as they sell correct decision, all disposable artificial insemination gloves, long-term veterinary insemination kit for dogs, cattle, horse.
Yeah, okay then. I don't know what dogs have to do with this, because you're not going to put your entire arm inside of a dog the way that you do with the cow.
This glove looks like it goes all the way up to your shoulder.
That's
literally.
You're gonna
literally it goes clear to your shoulder. Yes.
Oh, I mean, you could use that for. I mean, I stuck my arm all the way inside the deer so to gut it, but yeah, dang.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind that thing's gonna slip back down your shoulder, just the way that, you know, if you've got a pair of tube socks that are old and stretched out, they don't stay up your leg. It's gonna be the same way. There's no elastic on those, so take a rubber band.
Duct tape with me. You can duct tape it on my shoulders so it stays up.
Duct tape or a rubber band to use it as a garter, but something to keep it on your arm.
Put an apron on, get the insemination gloves going on, yeah.
I'm going to go with add to cart.
Just bring a veterinarian with you. That's all you really need.
Is it bad that when I field dress a deer, I don't worry about gloves at all? You know, I just roll my sleeve up to my elbow so I don't get as much blood on it.
You're hardcore, man. You're hardcore, dude. You're full. That's savage right there, buddy. You're savage.
We've all done that too.
Yeah, we've all been there.
And there's something to be said for wearing layers. And also, you know, it might be 10 degrees out where you're hunting, or it might be below zero, but take your top coat off so you can put it back on later, because it's warm inside that body cavity, so your hands aren't going to get cold, and you're going to be moving around and bending over. And for those of us who are built like me, you know, just working, bending over and stuff, I mean, you get warmed up. And so, but take your coat off and, yeah, roll your sleeves up, whatever. If you don't have gloves, you know, I've done it barehanded more often than not. It's just messy, but I mean, it's totally fine to do. You know, you're not gonna pick up diseases typically from a deer that can be passed to a human. So it's not like it's not like first aid on a human.
Right. There's also two different ways I know of people that when they field dress. One is they pull out the soft cavity of the lower portion of the, you know, more the gut cavity, and they reach up and they rotate to get to the lungs and everything. The way I was taught to do it is actually split the sternum, so that way you can spread the chest, so it's easier access. So if you split the sternum, then you're looking at blood maybe halfway to the forearm. If you have
the difference being if you're going to mount that deer or not. If you're going to do a shoulder mount, then you don't want to ruin the cape. and then you don't want to split the sternum. But if it's not a deer that you're going to mount, and you've got a knife sharp enough to split the sternum and cut through all the cartilage, then yeah, it's better to open it up.
Yeah,
I carry
I carry a 1
bones on my
1/4 pound hatchet for doing that.
Yeah, you can do it with your knife, but then you definitely need to sharpen your knife back up afterwards.
I've done it.
Yeah, the bone saw with the little bumper on the end, I think Sagan makes it. I think Gerber might have one too, but it's got the little plastic bumper, so you can cut the sternum and not actually cut into stuff underneath it. That's nice. Yeah, if you can split the sternum, and then once you've got everything removed from that pleural cavity, then you can wedge something in there and spread that too, and it will cool faster, and your meat stays better.
And it's also led up to your forearm, not up to your shoulder.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you're going to be elbow deep no matter what you do. You still have to reach up there and get as much of the trachea and esophagus as you can. Especially if you're going to harvest any of the neck meat, you don't want that stuff left in there. So, but everybody does it a little bit differently, and to be honest, I don't know if I've ever done it the same way twice in a row either. So it's always a learning process, and after 25 years of hunting deer, I still have to stop every year, the first year that I put down, and I have to, get back into it and kind of remember how to do it every year again.
Yeah, from what I have seen, when you slice open a deer, you get a lot less stuff come out of it than when they slice open an 800-pound cow. That's where, I guess maybe that's why it doesn't bother me to slice into the deer to gut it, because I was probably 10 the first time I was standing about 5 feet from the butcher the first time I saw them drop all that stuff on the ground from one of my dad's cows.
Tell you something else
it's a different process.
Tell you something else you might consider is packing some rope with you. You could throw it over a limb and hoist the deer upright to field dress. It makes gravity your friend in that particular instance.
Yeah. Or if you can find an incline, if you're not in a flat field or something. And definitely having more than one person. If you've never hunted before, then I would always suggest go with somebody who has for the first couple times.
And one thing I'll point out is be very careful to not perforate the intestines at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or bladder.
Okay, and Midnight out in the chat made the smart aleck remark that a chainsaw worked good to get the cavity open.
I like a nice table saw or like a nice kill saw.
I know someone who actually has used a sawzall.
If you actually have a chainsaw mounted underneath the handguard on your AR, then you can use it.
Or your bolt action rifle too. They fit on the sling swivel mount. You just put it on your right where you would normally put your bipod. You can usually mount some sort of a power tool easily.
It's time to go to a different topic when you start bringing out chainsaw.
let's do that. Let's do that.
On that note, I'm at work. I'm going to sign off. So thanks everybody for all the good advice, and thanks for the invite, Travis.
No problem. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Oh man. Okay, so we're looking at like what, 18, 17 days to Christmas right now. So the next topic that we have, and these are all viewer suggested topics. That Deer Hunting 101 was one that I wanted to bring up a while ago. So again, that just covers the absolute basics to kind of get you comfortable with it. Let's talk about holiday gift ideas for people that enjoy firearms. What are some of the things that maybe you've received before that you absolutely love, or what are some of the gifts that you give to somebody that is a person that loves firearms? I'm just going to let you guys have a little free-for-all on this one. This is something we can all relate to. What kind of things do you appreciate getting as gifts, or what are some of the handy things that are nice to have around? Anything.
A cleaning kit's handy to have.
Yes.
You can't ever have too many.
No, I agree, man. Especially if you do a lot of cleaning or do a lot of shooting, you do wear out the bore brushes, you do burn through patches, you can wear out the cleaning rods. A lot of good stuff popping up. Hey, yeah, you guys over in the chat, feel free to chime in on the YouTube and the gun channel side, man. Let her go.
Extremely nice cleaning kit for $20-30.
Yep.
I like the idea of a non-store specific Visa gift card. And the reason being is we're all into all sorts of variations. And I don't know exactly what you have in mind for that next little widget for one of many different rifles or a handgun or an accessory of what you had in mind. But a Visa gift card will do the trick so that you can get that item that you exactly want.
Dano doesn't trust anybody to buy him gifts, I see.
Hey, I'll never turn down a box of ammo. You know, I'll never turn down a can of CLP, right? Yeah, I put that in my stocking. I'm cool with that.
Well, I usually don't give like, you know, oh, it's a Smith & Wesson model, such and such and such and such.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to buy me the contents of the Cody Firearms Museum, I'm not going to complain.
Oh, speaking of that, did you guys hear that the storage area of J.M. Davis is being auctioned off tomorrow?
Yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah, the basement storage area. That's
they're just selling a select few things.
Duplicates of guns that they already have is one thing that they had stated. So it's still, I mean, it would be cool to go check it out. It'd be fun to go bid on something. It'd be nice to win something.
Not from what I've seen. The cheapest thing they had was $500.
Never mind. Okay.
I mean, it's not bargain basement, but this is historical. You know, not all the stuff is super duper, but this is some really unique stuff.
Yeah.
They had a crap load of Spencers. One 1873 Winchester that was pretty pricey.
They had several sets of dueling pistols.
Whole bunch of muzzleloading stuff.
Yep.
Cool. Hey, suggestions come from the YouTube side here for gift ideas, range fees, training class, or gift cards. Rob D, that's actually a really good one. My friends that have just gotten into firearms in the last 2 years, my best friend and his wife, I'm also thinking about getting them maybe a couple hours of range fees on a gift card. Some of these bigger, fancier ranges have their own gift cards. You can get them, maybe buy them some training classes so they can get out there and do some shooting. And they love to go shooting. That's a good one out there. We had a nice range bag is always a good one. A nice cleaning mat. You can never go wrong with that.
Now you want a gag gift for your significant other who's a gun guy. This is guy only because they're the only ones that get affected this way. Is a high point C9. And then take pictures of them opening it and holding the package so you can use that as blackmail later.
What? Oh, man. I gave my dad a high point 45 for Father's Day when he loved it, man. He thought it was awesome. I'll take a free high point C9. You give me any free guns, I'll take them. As long as it's not a Sky CPX too.
You know, I'd even take a Sky because then I can trade it in towards a better gun.
No, I'm muting you. No, that's enough. That's enough from you, Calaveras. No, I'm just you
catch the part where I said I can trade in.
Oh, okay. But as soon as you said I'll take a Sky CPX2, the triggering went off immediately, and I'm like, no, I've had enough of this.
No, I said that way I can trade it in towards a better gun.
I thought about taking my Jimenez JA22 to some of those gun buybacks when they give you like a $200 gift card for your gun. My little $75 Jimenez JA22, go trade it in for a $200 gift card, and then turn around and go buy something nice with it. Say, a nice rifle, a nice AR, a couple lowers maybe. Let's see what else we got there. For ammo is always a good one. Flannel line jeans are nice. Cash is always good. I've given just boxes of ammo to my family members to do a lot of shooting. Gift cards to their favorite gun stores are nice. Cattle exam gloves, always good to have. Good one there, David.
If you want to buy ammo for like your significant other and you don't want them to know what you're thinking and you have access to their firearm, it'll say specifically on the firearm what it takes.
Yeah.
So you can find out what ammo is what by looking at the gun. Just don't bang it into stuff where you get in trouble.
Yeah. Or if you can get into that safe and look around or see what's sitting around. My wife got me she got me the Sight and Clean range box that you see quite a bit on my channel. It's came with the storage box itself, and then it also has the base plate with the stands that you can put in it, so you can use it for cleaning, you can use it for sighting in your firearms. Now, granted, I use a lead sled for most of my accuracy testing, but I use that Sight and Clean for years, and I still use it as my range box. Nice range box is good. Vanessa Kitty's talking about stuff from Duluth Trading Company. That's always solid. Even like stocking stuffers like gun cleaning patches or little cans of CLP or a bore snake is nice to get, or one of the rope bore cleaners are good to have too.
Brim oil.
Rem oil, can't go wrong with that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of, just go to that. Those of you, if you're looking for something for the firearms lover, if you know that if they've got pistols or shotguns or rifle, you're bound to find something that would probably do the job. Sandbags, targets are nice to get because they do get a little expensive after a while. I dropped a small fortune on targets and ammo on the channel.
And an alternative to kind of as an additive to the sandbox is using an old sock where you tie a knot if there's a hole in it, and then you use rice.
Yeah, that's when Rich White dropped in a link in the chat, and saying, this is what my kids are getting me. I clicked on the Henry lever action 22 long rifle.
Hey, there you go. That's solid. I know they carry those. They carry those at Walmart. They have them. They usually have one of those in stock. If you go get one. That's
going to be one of my next gun purchases, I think.
Yeah.
I want to compare the Henry to the others I've got.
That little sock thing, by the way, I didn't say it, but is for the toe.
Gotcha. Let's see. Melvin Nutt says brass and reloading supplies. That was probably the greatest gift that Squibb gave me when he stopped by. Him and his son came out to check out the Eclipse almost 2 years ago now, and he brought me an entire setup for reloading. Bullets, brass.
Oh, not powder. An entire setup.
Well, I just need the starter stuff. Yeah, but no, that was awesome. I wasn't expecting that at all. I mean, and it does get me motivated to want to get into reloading. I've got a lot of spent brass, and because of Squibb, I'm now kind of a brass where when I'm at the range, I pick it up. If it's sitting around, I'll take it. I'll just go around, pick up, because our range, if it's not in the tub, it's anyone's brass. So at the outdoor range, I'll definitely pick up the brass. I'll find a lot of really nice stuff. I've got I now have ammo cans just full of it all over the place.
I really try to suggest things that are not requiring you to know exactly what gun they have.
Yeah, that could be the hard part too. Or even just a nice gift card to their favorite gun store is good. Or definitely. What's Rich White talking about here? Saying that they work there for Thanksgiving, Black Friday. They got an extra 15% discount on top of their 10%. Gun purchase list: CZ P10 CFN, was it 509, and another Glock 19 Gen 5. Your list? Oh, dude, I packed 9mm. I got to be honest. I did just buy my little Mossberg rifle, chambered in 6.5. I've only purchased 5 or 6 guns this year. So I bought 12 guns last year, and I'm sitting pretty good right now. So I really haven't had a chance to. Honestly, I've been restocking on ammo because I've been burning through a lot of the ammo that I bought before the election for range tests and practice and stuff. So I've been into just getting ammo at dirt cheap prices. Squibb has another awesome suggestion. Squibby, what do you got there, man?
This one, Sarge from C4 Defense suggested this. We were at Smoky Mountain Knife Works in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee on Black Friday, and he suggested this, so I picked up a couple. They're going to be stocking stuffers. Well, actually, they're not going to be stocking stuffers. They're actually going in this, which is a range bag that I ordered off Amazon. This is, if you've ever gotten the free NRA range bag, this is more or less the same thing. As a matter of fact, we took one of these and the NRA bag on our trip to Las Vegas in August, and we used them as our carry-ons. And we tried to abuse them. I actually carried both bags on a desert hike, and with weight in them, just to see if the zippers would bust, if the strap would bust. And we've taken them out to the range and dumped stuff in them, and they're not entirely 100% bulletproof. They're but I mean for $15 for the Lyman one on Amazon, or for the free one you get if you renew your NRA membership or get an NRA membership, they're pretty much the same bag. It makes a decent sized bag, and honestly, I'm getting sick of carrying the big range bag with everybody's stuff in it. So I want everybody in the family to start carrying their own stuff. Now we'll all have a range bag. We'll all have our own range bag, but I'm stuffing the mag and a few other items. I'm getting them some extra safety glasses. They have safety glasses and they have ear protection. But I'm getting, because those things scratch, they wear out, and
it's kind of on that magazine.
Yeah,
bite me. I see it says 30 round on it, so bite me.
What's that standard?
5?
This is standard capacity. What are you talking about?
I agree, standard capacity, but I can't get it. To me, 30 round is standard. 40 and up is is high. these 10 rounders are neutered.
Well, no, the 5, 10, 8, depending on what you get, they have a place. Like when you're mounting in a lead sled or on that quick clean mount, I can't remember what's called, the Sight and See. Having the low profile mags come in handy. I mean, I like the 30 round mag because I can put it on the when I shoot offhand, I put it on the inside of my arm as support for when I hold the rifle. But yeah, there's a place for the lower profile mags as well. But I mean, it's just you know, never enough mags, never enough cleaning supplies, never enough personal protection equipment. All that stuff makes good stocking stuffers, or if you want to buy a range bag and stuff it full of things, that'll work.
Now, wait a minute here. Let's go back to these bags because I got a cheap ass duffel from the NRA.
Okay, well now Smeggy uses his cheap ass duffel from the NRA to carry ammo, and I think he's already broke the handle off of it or busted a zipper or something like that. Because we were at Dusty's farm, and he's like, "Don't give me any crap over these," you know. And he's got 1 or 2 bags, and there's stuff full of shells, and it's like, you know what? That's the thing. If they're cheap or they're free, and you wear them out, you're really at no loss. But I actually shot a bunch of video footage with the NRA bag and the Lyman bag because they're almost identical. And eventually I'll edit it and make a video. But I mean, for $15, it's like I said, for me, it's now everybody has their own bag. Carry your own stuff to the range. I'm sick of being the mule and, carrying everything up. Because when we go as a family, somehow or another, everything ends up on me.
Yeah,
so it keeps on giving.
I want to get this one out real quick. Go over to gearwebsites.com. Okay, you guys can support G-Webs, pick up some really cool patches. I'll tell you what, you go over there, you can buy about any patch on gearwebsites.com. If you're somebody who doesn't know what to get, that firearms lover in your life, that gun lover in your life, go over to gearwebsites.com, pick them up. A couple decks of the playing cards. The Firearm Vendor playing cards are great. The Every Second Matters patches are awesome. The G logo patches, the bacon pancakes are awesome. The patches are great. So go over to, make sure you get over to gearwebsites.com and go check out what G-Webs has for sale. He also has a channel over on, or a page over on eBay where you can buy that stuff too if you guys are eBay shoppers out there. Let's see here. What else we got? So any other gift ideas at all before we move into the topic of slugs, shotgun slugs? A little discussion on slugs here before we call it a day.
Patrick on the gun channel side was, he was suggesting a bunch of, gun parts and this kind of stuff. But that's also for the non-firearm specific items, a good ear pro and eye pro because it's stuff that, is always necessary. And having pairs is a good idea.
Well, heck yeah. So, just who doesn't like a nice new set of eye pro or some good maybe active ear pro? The active noise canceling ear pro is good too.
Hoppy's number 9.
Yeah, anything Hoppy, anything with Hoppy's on it, you're good to go. Again, like Tony had said originally, it's a nice deluxe cleaning kit. You can get those for $25-30, and they've got all the different bore brushes with them and bore mops, and you've got the.
In my house, we could just take a bottle of Hoppy's, open it up, set it on the shelf, and use it as a aromatic in the house because my girlfriend and I both love the smell of that stuff.
I got to tell a story about that. I was cleaning a couple of guns the other night, and my grandson and his parents live with me right now, so he was helping me clean the guns. And his little 6-year-old self popped up and says, "I like the smell of that stuff." I was like, heart swelling with pride here.
They need to make pleasant scented gun cleaning supplies. I guess they got the frog lube stuff smells kind of like, it smells like Bengay, but
well, you gotta think that these guys are thinking from muzzle loading era where it don't matter what you put in, it's gonna freaking stink.
Yeah, this is true. All right, let's move on over to talking about slug guns a little bit. I don't know if you guys have any. Ouch! I was muted by Calaveras here. Are you anti-slug, Calaveras? What's the deal, man?
That was payback for you muting me earlier.
Oh, okay. I had it. Yeah, I had it definitely come in my way. So
every time I think about shotgun slugs, I'm gonna put something in the side chat that's just wicked. All right.
What do we got here? We can do a little screen share. Let's see what we got going. Oh my God! Yeah, I want to talk about the 3 different types of slugs and just give you a little bit of advice for shotgun slugging it. What you need to know. For some of you that hunt with slugs only because you have to, you're probably well versed in it. So what do we got here? This is Oath, Operators American Tactical Hardware, 12 gauge TSR, Tango shotgun round, nylon, 5 rounds per package for $30.55. Can be shot from a smooth or rifle 12 gauge barrel with no issues. Not reloadable. I'd imagine no. So what can you tell us about these things, Jim? Have you been doing some research into them or what?
It's just kind of a running joke we've had amongst a couple of gun people in the family. I mean, these things are ridiculously expensive, but man, do they look devastating the way they flower open. And
like having a boat propeller go through you or something, man. Look at that thing. Oh my God.
Well, the question is how well do they actually hold together? Because that's where I know those look a lot like the rip ammo.
Yeah.
Which, break into itty bitty pieces and don't actually carry that much energy into it because they don't hold together. There's no retention. So I have to wonder if these have the same issue.
They're talking 3 inches of expansion. Are they talking in ballistics gel? Once you start hitting bone and meat and sinew and muscle, it says the TSR plastic is equivalent to the power of a .308 round with the size of a small mortar. I suppose they probably move with the quietness of a Navy SEAL too, right?
I'm sure.
High weather resistant plastic nylon for casing, 3 ounces lighter than TSR aluminum rounds. So 1925 foot-pounds of energy. I mean, that's beastly. That'll do some damage.
It's almost a joke, but I sure would like to shoot that into some ballistics gel and see what it actually looks
probably
like.
Just make it explode into chunks.
Do they operate in 3.5-inch Magnum? Because I use that as a test round since my shotgun can take it.
Let's see here. What do we got? Those are 2.75 inches. That might be the only. Is that the only ammo that they make?
They make it with they make other stuff, but the shotgun ammo they actually have that in reloadable brass cases too.
Here's some $55.75 stuff for 5 rounds. What is this? 2.75 inches.
It's a brass case. It's reloadable.
Oh, okay, reloadable. Okay, I got you. Oh, I see. Okay, it's the first time I've ever dealt with anything from this company before. So,
because the projectile is just a 5-pack of projectiles is like $25.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that shows that you can get that they make a 3.5-inch shell. Yeah, they sell the projectiles by themselves. So you can get 5 of them for $25. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah. So when it comes to shotguns, I just did a little bit of just research last night. I was just going to share just quick little bits with you. You've got your smooth bore barrels in your shotguns. You've also got your rifle barrels in your shotguns, which are many times your hunting shotguns. So when it comes to ammo, I'm going to just quickly put a little link here for you guys in the chat again for you to look at, and for you guys over in the YouTube side and also the gun channel side to check this out. So Guns Digest has a nice kind of shotgun slug 101 little bit of information, because the first time I went hunting for deer, I was actually using my Mossberg 835, which has a slug barrel that you can swap out with a smooth bore barrel. And this slug barrel that came with it has rifling in it. And I had no idea what I was supposed to buy for ammo, what I was supposed to get. And so this is pretty cool. This little article talks about what you need to know. So the basics are that you've got your Foster slugs, okay? Foster slugs, you want to make sure that you only fire those through a smooth bore barrel. If you fire through rifling, you risk damaging the rifling. I'll show you just a picture of the Foster slugs here. Here's an example of what you can get from Hornady. So they've got these rifling marks carved into them, or you can call them fins, whatever you want to call them. These are for smoothbore barrels. These fins here, a lot of people think, oh yeah, that gets the slug spinning. It doesn't actually do that. These fins are designed so that as the bullet travels down the barrel of your smoothbore barrel, if you have a choke tube in your smoothbore barrel, or you have a tight choke tube, which you really should not have, you should be as just open bore as possible. Those fins are designed so that the lead can condense down, collapse down into those channels, so that the bullet is able to safely exit the barrel. I mean, that's been my interpretation of what the point is behind those. Yeah,
I beg to differ, because Remington puts them out as rifled slugs.
Yeah, these are called rifled slugs, but from what I've read, the rifling's not designed to get the bullet spinning down the bore. It helps with the exit of the bullet out of the barrel. The fins allow the lead to collapse around the bullet so it can safely exit the barrel.
Actually, they're not.
It's rifling on the bullet, but it's not designed to spin the bullet.
Actually, they're not horribly inaccurate either. With,
no, no.
Go about 75 to 100 yards with it.
Yeah, looking at this Hornady slug that you can get, we're looking at trajectory is they fly flat at 100 yards. 150 yards, you got an 11-inch drop off, but they got plenty of energy out to 100 yards to drop whatever you want. In fact, out of the test barrel at Hornady, they shoot 2.8 inches high at 50 yards. So at 50 to 100 yards with a round like this, now you're probably going to pay a premium for it. This is probably one of your best options for a smoothbore barrel. And I'm not sure what I don't think these are. Yeah, these are just a 2 3/4 inch shell. So you can see the slug here, and then they show you what it looks like when it hits whatever it was that they shot at. It does mushroom up, and this is definitely going to do the job. But yeah, from what I'd read, the rifling is because the first time I went out, I did buy a box of these, and I had a rifled barrel on my shotgun, and I went with a buddy. He's like, dude, you're not running those down your barrel. Now, the thing I want to say about the slugs is that